21st birthday. We're going to read Oscar and Klaus, The Search for Bigfoot. Yep, Klaus as in rhymes with not mouth. All right. Oh, you're welcome, Laura from New York. And just to let you know, I have official signed copies and paw prints from Oscar and Klaus. I got the special limited editions. And just to also let you guys know, they still sell these books on Oscar and Klaus's website. So you can look at them there. And, they've been selling them for a while. So one of the things I really like about these books is the pictures are wonderful. So, all right, without further ado, here we go. Oh boy, this is the life, Klaus would gloat each time he stuffed a sardine down his throat. Klaus loved the cozy home in the city. He was nothing less than a spoiled kitty. He had food round the clock, 9 napping places, plus 4 litter boxes in various places. Don't eat too much, Oscar warned as he climbed. Being sick far from home is not a good time. Then, reaching the perch 6 feet off the floor, he climbed back down. And did it once more. Tomorrow's the big day, and we must feel good. I gotta sing this because it's written in rhymes. So don't eat too much, Oscar warned as he climbed. Being sick far from home is not a good time. Then, reaching the perch 6 feet off the floor, he climbed back down and did it once more. Tomorrow's the big day, and we must feel good. We're going camping in Mossy Wood. And just look at this illustration. It is just wonderful. And like I said, I mean, these books, I don't know if they're $10 or $20 or whatever, but they're really, really, really wonderful. I actually bought them when they did a whole fundraiser to get these. So, yes, Nala. And WikiCat, I read the Nala book here a few weeks ago, because Nala has a book too. The car was loaded, and off they drove, away from the city, down long, winding roads. The trees grew bigger, but the grasses more wild, and Oscar couldn't help but smile. Each new smell and every new sound meant an adventure was soon to be found. So let me show you this picture, because look at the cute picture. They're going on camping. The tents were pitched by the crackling fire as shadows danced higher and higher. They heard the legend of Bigfoot that night, and it gave Klaus a most awful fright. When nighttime falls, he steps from his lair on 2 huge feet covered with hair. Like a grizzly bear, he stands tall and mean. But sly old Bigfoot is rarely seen. And all who seek this fearsome creature will never, ever forget their adventure. Again, look at the picture, and look how Bigfoot is in shadows. It's just a wonderful illustrations. And there's Klaus, and there's Oscar. Just really, really great illustrations. Well, WikiCat, I'll have to bring it back. I'll have to bring it again. It really, really great book about, celebrate our differences, basically, is the theme of the book. Oscar could not fall asleep in his tent. I can find Bigfoot just by my scent. I'm sleeping, Klaus mumbled, for goodness sake. You're coming with me, Oscar insisted. You have no choice. He was very persistent. Klaus rolled over and covered his head, but Oscar pulled him straight from the bed, out of the tent and onto the grass. Let's get moving. Adventure at last. They walked for a while. Sometimes they jog until they reached an old hollow log. In that spot, the path simply ended. Let's go back to the camp, Klaus demanded. We can't stop now. Let's just crawl through. Oscar's excitement grew and grew. But it's so dark, Klaus's voice quivered. He was so scared his whole body shivered. Yet despite all of his protests and groans, Klaus followed his pal into the unknown. Oscar's words echoed inside of the tree. The darkness, or the darkness simply does not bother me. Does not bother me. Does not bother me. Does not bother me. Klaus doesn't look too good there, does he? But not bad for 21 years old, huh? On the other side, they found rushing water and swimming on top a curious otter. Hello, Oscar yelled. Will you help us across? The otter swam closer and said, Sure thing, boss. Because of my Philadelphia accent, it didn't really sound like it rhymed real well. It's, water and otter. But unfortunately, because I'm from Philadelphia, we pronounce it wooder, Wooder. Thank you, Packerbacker. So, when I first moved to Virginia and I took the job uh, at an insurance company in Virginia, people would kind of come over and say, Can you say water? And I would say it, and they'd laugh. And it was all right. We all, sometimes you just gotta, you know, we all have little accents, and sometimes we don't realize it. All right. Just hop on my back and be sure to hang on. The stream isn't wide, but the current is strong. No, thank you, cried Klaus. I can do it my way. I was swim team co-captain back in the day. You know, I appreciate the voiceovers, but you know who kind of really influenced me with voices? If you ever saw The Adventures of Milo and Otis and Dudley Moore was the narrator, and I thought he did such a fantastic job doing the narration of that story. He was just wonderful. You know, I you know I loved The Adventures of Milo and Otis. It was such a sweet, sweet story about a kitty and a doggy. All right. Now I remember why I quit the team. A wet Klaus shivered in a silver moonbeam. Perched high on a branch sat a serious owl, her big eyes squinting, beak bent in a scowl. She asked, Where is it that you all are headed? To find Bigfoot, Oscar leapt as he said it. The owl screeched, I heard he's a brute. Is he even real? I don't give a hoot. Oscar replied, Why not join our quest? It could be good for you to come out of your nest. The owl agreed and fluffed her gray feathers, and the four made a pact to stick close together. Four? All right. I don't know who the fourth one is. Oh, the otter. Okay, the otter and the owl. I get it now. Hey, I have a little joke. Why did the otter cross the road? To get to the otter side. All right, I'm fired. The owl flew high to find a clear path. The others ran. Klaus was soon out of breath. A murky haze closed in on from each side, and Oscar's nose was their only guide. Winding through the trees and over old logs, they kept moving deeper in spite of the fog. Klaus cried out from the back with a fuss, "It feels like something is following us." Then they heard a snap, followed by a rustle. Oscar paused. I sensed something near. A mysterious figure began to appear. Who goes there? The nervous otter said. The puzzled owl just scratched her head. Klaus proclaimed, "It must be a bug." "Actually, I'm a banana slug." The stranger explained and then added more. "For quite some time I watched you four. You're all clearly lost and walking in circles. I'm happy to help, though I'm slow as a turtle. I know all the shortcuts, so come right along to Bigfoot's house. Let's sing a song." Again, just absolutely fantastic pictures. As the fog grew thicker and thicker, the new friends sang to help stick together. We stomp our poles, we shake our tails, to Bigfoot's house we make the trail. Right then left, left, right, right. We laugh and sing and march all night. There's room for all, fast or slow. We make the trail as we go. Right then left, right. Through foggy woods we march all night. When they finished singing the final chorus, strange sounds filled the nighttime forest. Crickets chirped, frogs croaked. "This must be the spot," the banana slug spoke. That's when Klaus really lost his cool. "What have I done? I've been such a fool to believe Bigfoot could truly exist, and now we're lost in this forest mist. I wish I was back at our warm, safe camp with my sleeping bag and a handy lamp, and the yummy snacks that I love so much, and human hands. I miss their touch. The worst part, no one is petting me." Klaus rubbed up on a big, hairy tree. So there's Klaus rubbing up on the tree. Ah, ah, achoo! A sneeze thundered forth from a huge mouth and nose. Bigfoot cleared the fog. The five friends just froze. Hopefully he's not Bumble. "Pardon me," Bigfoot sniffled. He felt kind of silly. "I'm allergic to cats," he said, picking a lily. His soothing, kind voice put the whole gang at ease as the smell of baked goodies blew into the breeze. Won't you all join me in my humble home? No one ever visits. I'm always alone. Just follow me. It's not far at all. I live right behind that blue waterfall. The home was filled with all sorts of treasure, which Bigfoot displayed with great care and pleasure. Framed pictures, glass bottles, an old cookie tin, jazz record collection, and recycling bin. Growl. Klaus's belly made that old owl jump back. Bigfoot chimed in, "Shall we have a small snack?" Try my seasoned pine nuts, gooseberry popovers, and mushroom sliders garnished with clovers, or crabapple scones with raccoon milk brie. You wouldn't believe, but it's all gluten free. And the whistling kettle you hear and see is filled with delicious nettle tea. They ate by the Ugh. They ate by the bushel, they drank by the gallon. All were amazed by Bigfoot's talent. He was hairy, tall, and rare indeed, and a generous soul, they all agreed. The new friends were laughing. They abandoned all care. Klaus stepped outside for a breath of fresh air. The birds were chirping. The bees were buzzing. The breeze was so warm and the fog was gone. That's when Klaus noticed the sun. The sun? The sun? The sun is up! Klaus shouted with panic. We have to get back or we'll never get home. Please help us, Bigfoot. We can't make it alone. Look how panicked Klaus looks. Isn't he panicked? Oscar and Klaus rode on Bigfoot's broad shoulders and raced down the hill like tumbling boulders. Crunch past that mossy towering pines. Stomp over stumps tangled with vines. Splash through the stream that made their fur damp. At last to the old log and back to the camp. It feels like we're flying, Oscar declared, but Klaus just held on, a little bit scared. Just to look at this picture of Bigfoot with Oscar and Klaus on his shoulders. You know all Bigfoot needs is C dot. He's missing C dot on his shoulders. Oh, one more thing that you know. Look what his apron says. Squat you got cooking. That's kind of cute. All right. Hooray! We made it. And just by a whisker, said Oscar to Klaus, and Klaus to Oscar. But just as they dozed off in their cozy, warm bed, they heard a commotion. And a stern voice said, It's time to head home, and you two are still snoring. He was unaware of their nighttime exploring. And why are you covered in all of that crud? Your fur is a mess, paws crusty with mud. Oscar nudged Klaus, and it made them both giggle. They were laughing so hard they started to wiggle. Oscar and Klaus left with wild memories of their searching for Bigfoot among mossy trees, with their new forest friends who helped them along, and their joy that they shared in singing a song. From the dread of being lost in the foggy woods to the delight of Bigfoot's delicious baked goods. Now Klaus can finally return to his leisure while Oscar dreams of their next big adventure. It says, come back soon. Yes, C-Dot still is put away. Let me see if I want to see if this was actually copyrighted in 2014, and it was actually a big Kickstarter to fund this. And I know I was one of the Kickstarters. I don't think I donated enough to get a thanks, but I did get an Oscar Klaus Adventure Society. I actually got that as a not a pin, little badge. So that is the first Oscar and Klaus book. And there was a sequel that was out, but I think I'm gonna, what the heck, I'll read it now. Let me just take a little break here. So the next book is Oscar and Klaus, The Mission to Cattails. And this was basically the sequel book. Again, has great illustrations. It's written basically by the same folks who wrote the original. Oscar's daddy was one of the co-writers. Oh, I love the little pictures because it's, I'll show you in a second. Klaus was startled awake by a zip and a zoom. Oscar, stop running around the room. Just let me sleep like a proper house cat. The job of a cat is to nap and get fat. Oscar giggled. Come on, Klaus, it's time to play. You snooze all night, and then most of the day. Can't you see that the world is a thrilling place? And beyond our planet, there's outer space. Yeah. They found Bigfoot. Josh Gates is jealous. Klaus snarled, why be awake if I can't look my best? I need 10 more hours of my beauty rest. And I was mentioning the pictures that are on the table. It's hard to see here, but that was actually when their daughter was an infant. I think they have another daughter. And of course, they have Oscar and Klaus. Now, they have since adopted another blind cat. I don't remember what her name is offhand, but yeah, they do have another blind cat. And if you ever know Oscar's backstory, that he has absolutely lived the best life he could possibly live. He was found out on a farm. And he's out on the farm and he's completely blind. He has no eyes. But he absolutely, had the best. Now, wait till you see this picture. This picture really made me laugh the first time I saw this. Just then, a man on TV with a unique accent was describing an abnormal cosmic event. An asteroid will pass between Earth and the moon, and it's going to happen very soon. We must probe the mysteries of the cosmos, declared space pioneer Alan Probos. He was the founder of CAT, or Cosmic Adventure Technologies. Will we discover life when we get there? Probos ran his fingers through his wild hair. Is such a thing even possible on a minor dwarf planet that's so small? Our plan is to land on this odd planetoid, 2 brave volunteers will be deployed. So if you love adventure, don't delay. We begin training cadets right away. So look at the picture of this scientist. You'll probably recognize. Isn't that funny? And as you can see, you got Oscar. Well, obviously Oscar's not watching them, but you know what I mean. Now, the reason why we know this is Oscar is because 2 ears are up. If only 1 ear was up, that would be Klaus. This time, I think you've gone too far, Klaus grumbled to Oscar in the back of the car. As the CAT buildings came into view, Klaus shouted, "I will not be part of this crew." Oscar smiled. "You said it's your dream to be by the stars. It's not like we're going all the way to Mars." Klaus snapped back, "I meant the stars you would find in Hollywood. You would find in Hollywood, not the outer space kind." So any of you science fiction geeks might recognize the shape of this building. I don't know if anybody will know, but it's pretty obvious to me that that's a little homage. So, and there's Oscar and Klaus with the little bumper sticker from the first book. A little bumper sticker that says Mossy Wood, and there's a Bigfoot on it. Provost mused, "I did not expect cats, but no one else came, so that is that. The plan is quite simple, so let me explain. Your trek is demanding, so you must train to strengthen your body and sharpen your mind. And it's no trouble at all that Oscar is blind. With courage and positive disposition, you'll have the right stuff discernible in this mission." Oscar agreed. "We're ready to start. Let's learn the new skills before we depart." As you can see, that Klaus is very interested. Oscar was introduced to a robot named Yuri, who stood on one wheel on which he would scurry. Provost smiled. "Here's your rock collector, the yellow unidentified rock inspector." Get it? Yuri, yellow unidentified rock inspector. "His job is to handle any hazardous matter." As he said this, Yuri started to chatter. "It's my pleasure to lend you my helping hand. Just say, 'Okay, Yuri,' followed by your command." In spite of his huffing, wheezing, and straining, Klaus somehow kept up with all of the training. A centrifuge spun him like a big roundabout to prepare him for blastoff so he wouldn't pass out. First of all, look at that picture of Klaus. Isn't that like the awesome, awesome picture? I just think it's wonderful. And of course, there's Klaus and there's Provost. Oh, each training day started at 6 a.m. They'd get a small break around 9 or 10. They would train some more until 3, get fed, and again until 7, and then straight to bed. Preparations were made down to every detail. Each control panel button was labeled with braille. A launch day approached, their skills were perfected. The rocket was loaded and fueled and inspected. Klaus begged, "I will need my fizzy water machine." Oscar allowed it to avoid causing a scene. So look at these pictures like they're on TV. Aren't they great? Trying to, there, that's better. And look at the just wonderful, wonderful pictures. Yuri reported, "Believe pre-flight check is done. Our journey commences in 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off." The rocket ship left Earth with startling power, reaching 17.5 thousand miles an hour. On board was a plexiglass storage box designed to protect the sample rocks. Also, a plant to remind them of home. It sat in a small, transparent dome. Lastly, the machine that carbonates water, since Klaus insists bubbly water tastes better. Let's see if I can zoom in on the kitty in the window. "I can't believe we're actually flying through space," Oscar exclaimed, a huge grin on his face. "I feel like my body weighs nothing at all." Klaus gasped as they orbited in a state of free fall. When the asteroid finally came into view, every crew member knew just what to do. Yes, good old Mr. D. And I'm assuming you're talking about that Mr. D right there. Oscar and Klaus put on their special spacesuits along with their helmets and grippy space boots. Exploring the asteroid, they felt strange sensations. Oscar detected puzzling vibrations. Oscar saw colorful, flickering beams of light that seeped through the cracked surface seams. "Okay, Yuri," Oscar ordered, "retrieve a rock sample." Yuri squawked back, "I'll select the finest example." Beep, boop, blurp, beep, bleep. 10 minutes went by, and just as expected, Yuri returned with a lump he collected. Cats in space. The jagged green fragment was placed in a box designed to protect mysterious space rocks. Moments later, it started to pulse and gleam with an eerie light that frightened the team. Crack! "Oh heavens!" screamed Klaus as he started to pant. "The sample has taken control of the plant." The shrub broke its container, and when it was freed, quadrupled in size with incredible speed. The ship's electronics were going haywire. The whole situation went from bad to dire. Mission Control heard all of the mayhem. Both cats were shouting, "We have a problem." And then, of course, there's a little kitty there. As Oscar and Klaus grew more and more frantic, the shrub grew from big to huge to gigantic. There was only one thing that the vines were after. They wanted more food, CO2, and water. They squeezed the liquid out of Klaus's fizz bottles and soaked it all up along with the bubbles. Nobody could stop it, although they tried. The weed absorbed all the carbon dioxide. "We need to escape this grotesque green glutton." Klaus panicked and hit the eject now button. "What do you think, Big D? You going to bed? You don't want to hear any more adventures of Klaus and Oscar?" Whoosh! Total chaos broke out right after ejection. The objects on board went in every direction. The escape pod shot up and floated away. Yuri snagged Klaus as they drifted astray. The plant froze and shattered, chunks scattered around. Soon, Oscar and the rock were nowhere to be found. I didn't even know Dwayne Johnson was on this flight. Just to let you know, I crack myself up with the jokes that only I get. Klaus and Yuri kept coasting through the infinite void, by now miles away from that weird asteroid. Okay, Yuri, sobbed Klaus, we should sing a song. It might give us courage and help us stay strong. Yuri agreed. That is a very good plan. I'll load the music as soon as I can. Beep, bloop, blurp, bleep. When your mind is full of fears and you feel like shedding tears, don't lose your head. Just use your head. When your heart is losing hope and you don't know how to cope, don't lose your head. You're going to use your head. Bleep, bippity bloop, shoobity doop, wah. Klaus held onto Yuri in a desperate embrace, singing as they sailed into the depths of space. So, those of you who are old enough probably are thinking about the scene in 2001. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. Back on Earth, thousands of miles away, Mission Control's nerves started to fray. Provost blurted, in my expert opinion, the odds of survival are 1 in 10 billion. As those hopeless words discouraged the team, a fuzzy face appeared on the video screen. Oscar cut through the static, beating every odd. He was sending a message from the escape pod. I'm in the capsule. Although I'm alone, I'll find the others. We're all coming home. And do you see Oscar's face on the transmission? Completely lost, still floating along, Yuri and Klaus finished their lonesome song. I'm shutting down, Yuri wheezed. My battery is spent. It's down to 0.01%. Klaus sobbed. Dearest Yuri, I have to confess, I'm glad you're with me during this mess. Just as Klaus gave up on any chance of rescue, a glimmer of hope whisked into view. Oscar! Oscar's paw reached out to grab his best friend, to at least bring their troubles to an end. Am I seeing things? Gasped Klaus. Could it really be? How in the world did you ever find me? Again, just a wonderful illustration. Once all three were on board and Klaus ate some treats, Oscar described his bold rescue feats. When our ship fell apart, I stretched out my claws and snagged the CO2 tank between my paws. A button on the nozzle created a blast. The compressed gas made me move fast. The escape pod's transmission perked up in my ear. As the sound got louder, I knew where to steer. Once I boarded the craft, I homed in on your song. Your broadcast level was still quite strong. That's how you found me, Klaus wept joyful tears. I was saved by my singing and your well-trained ears. The end of the voyage was drawing near as the capsule blazed through Earth's atmosphere. It rumbled and shook like an amusement park ride, but that didn't alarm the brave spirits inside. As dark black space gave way to bright blue skies, Oscar revealed a growing surprise. I saved that extraterrestrial chunk and stowed it inside this cramped cargo trunk. Notice the Klaus's tongue sticking out there. Hi, Asha. Provo sat down by his new alien rock. He and his cat were in for a shock. Once again, the elements started to glow. It caused the hair on his head to grow and grow. He was actually delighted by the shaggy mess. The mission to Cattails was a huge success. Outside, voices cheered and a marching band played. The returning heroes were thrown a parade. Oscar and Klaus felt encouraged as they drove away to live the life they wanted every single day. And this book is dedicated to the many brave animal space explorers who paved the way for Oscar and Klaus. Here are a few. In 1949 was Albert II, was a rhesus monkey. First monkey in space, 1949. Albert II. 1957 was Laika, Laika, a dog from the Soviet Union. First animal to orbit Earth. 1961 was Ham and Enos, chimpanzees from USA, the first primates in space. 1963 was Felicette, the first cat in space. 1963. So that is Oscar and Klaus, the mission to Cattails. So that is the books to celebrate Oscar's 21st, not Oscar, Klaus's 21st birthday. And I just thought of the blind cat's name that they have. Juno. Juno is the kitty that they have now who is blind. I don't know much about Juno. I think it's Juno. Yeah, I think it's Juno. So, oh, you're welcome. I'm going to take a little break, and then we'll. I know we started this book last week, and we didn't quite finish it. This is Cattails, so we're going to finish that. Oh. Hello. Yes. You know, I don't think people know how vocal you are. Yes, you are a very vocal cat. It's very funny because you are definitely, when I used to watch you on the camera, Derecho, I always thought you were very quiet, but you're not. You're not quiet. You love attention. You love being talked to. I know. You're probably fooling everybody. Yeah. You're a sweet guy. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear him. He's trilling. Are you trilling?
He says, I want CHICKEN.
Yeah.
Where's my Auntie Beth?
You gotta keep your girlish figure there, Derecho. All right. Thank you, Tina. Oh yeah. I figure let me show you something real quick. All right. Got to go to TikTok because
Mr. Toff, tell me a word in your foreign language.
I thought you'd appreciate this. How did I like the snow this morning? Well, it was interesting. We got about 3 or 4 inches, and um, the roads were slippery. The snow didn't really accumulate, but because of all that moisture, it was pretty wet out today. But it was all gone by like 2 o'clock as it slowly warmed up. So I want to show you. Let me just pause this. I wanted to show you this little video I posted on TikTok. So just an FYI, I have like 15 cat beds. And what does this kitty do? Yeah, he's sleeping in the sink. That's a little sleepy. Huh? Are you sleeping in the sink? You know, there are better places to sleep. So I posted that. That is Jessie. Jessie is 3 years old. I've had Jessie since she's been like 2 weeks old. We foster Jessie and her mom, and we actually have we foster failed Jessie and her mom. Now Jessie also has a problem with one of her eyes. She had a really, really bad infection. I thought she was going to lose it, but the reason why I posted that is because of all the cat beds in the house, she prefers to sleep in the sink. All right, that's her preferred spot. So I started putting a spare towel in that sink, so that at least it would be a little bit more comfortable. So I'll get up in the morning, and she is there sleeping away. It's really funny, because when I say I have 15 cat beds, that's not exaggeration. At Packerbacker, I actually have 2 sinks in that bathroom, so that second bathroom or that second sink was usually what Bonnie used. So, so funny stuff. Oh, look who's coming out of the pineapple. Yeah, and just they've lifted just about all of the age restrictions on the vaccines. So you should be able to get the vaccine now. I believe, though, you have to be 18 and over for the Johnson & Johnson, which I know is still paused, I believe. And you have to be 18 and over for the Moderna. But Pfizer's 16 and over. So, yeah. Oh, I know, Packerbacker. I know. I was just mentioning anybody here who is in the United States can get it today. Oh, thank you, Magic. I appreciate that. I got the Pfizer vaccine. So, it's kind of, you know what, Danielle? And I don't know if my mother's on, but I know my mom had the same thought to wait for the doctor to ring. But you know what? Your best bet is to, see if there's a place, because, they're not really, I mean, and I'm going to tell you, because I work in the insurance industry, nobody's going to be charged for the actual vaccine. You're not going to, the government is basically paying for all of it. The government is paying for the actual serum and the actual injection. I don't know if they're giving like $20 or $15 to, each of the insurance companies giving it to them, but it's being financed by the government. So, no, oh, okay. But I definitely think, if as long as you believe in it, get the vaccine, and just to so you can get out and you don't really have to be too concerned. You know, I'm actually just looking forward to being able to go out. Um, yeah, Walmart is offering them here as well. Now, when I first got my vaccine, um, it was still, I kind of heard through the grapevine that the Rite Aid in a town about 20 miles away had some, and that you had to go to their website, and I did, and I signed up, and I got it done. I got it done. So yeah, get it done. And the other thing I'm hearing, Kathleen, and I haven't heard it from the medical side, but I'm hearing that we might need another one next year. So it almost sounds like it's like a flu vaccine. So I don't know. Of course, the flu kind of mutates every year. So let's talk more about cattails. And again, this is the picture that just basically is just an absolute wonderful, wonderful picture. Oh, good for you, Craig. That's great.
Janie. Come on. Janie.
Ethel, the gourmet. I think I left off with Frederick the Literate.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, I had some arm soreness on both injections, and also the first one I was a little, I don't want to say maybe tired is a good word, but the second one I seem to have tolerated better. So you better believe that, Kathleen. I had a elementary school classmate that I was still in communication with on Facebook that caught COVID and passed away. That was a really, really tough one. So all right, so we are going to talk about this kitty named Herkimer. Herkimer. And here's the picture of Herkimer. All right, Ms. M. So far, so good. Again, there's little stories and vignettes in here, interspaced with the little sayings about cats. So the first one is by William Lyon Phelps. A cat pours his body on the floor like water. It is restful just to see him. And then there's a quote by Eric Gurney. The really great thing about cats is their endless variety. One can pick a cat to fit almost any kind of decor, color, scheme, income, personality, or mood. But under the fur, whatever color it may be, there still lies, essentially unchanged, one of the world's free souls. And then there's another little two things that are aesthetically perfect in the world: the clock and the cat. That was from Emile Auguste Chartier. All right, let's talk about Herkimer. Herkimer, in his primitive mode style of painting, depicts an exhausted cat who never exudes any more energy other than his trips to the feeding pan. So this unusually active cat and mouse game had to be put on canvas to verify that Herkimer does not have some stored energy that surfaces, but only when he desires. And that's kind of a perfect picture. He's sleeping, but then you see the mouse that he plays with. It's kind of, I enjoy this book because of the paintings. The paintings are just phenomenal. And here's some more kitty quotes. Agreeable friends. They ask no questions. They pass no criticisms. So that's from George Eliot. There's no need for a piece of sculpture in a home that has a cat. And that is Wesley Bates. We can judge the heart of a man by his treatment of animals. That's Immanuel Kant. And there's one here. It says, there is a feud between the cat and the dog, but this dislike is superficial and can, in most instances, be easily set aside. It is, to be sure, instinctive. kittens with their eyes scarcely open have been known to spit at a dog. But cats who live with dogs usually do so with dignity and ease. In so many cases, a deep affection springs up between the two. This is from Carl van Vechten from The Tiger in the House. The next one is Frances Hodgson Burnett, and this is from The Lost Prince. Marco turned and stood with his back against the door. The cat had awakened, and she was gazing at him with her green eyes. She began to purr encouragingly. She really helped Marco to think. He was thinking with all his might and trying to remember. The cat meowed again, this time very anxiously indeed. The cats heard her and began to squirm and squeak piteously. Lead me to this little thing, said Marco, as in speaking to something in the darkness about him, and he got up. He put his hand out toward the kittens, and it touched something lying not far from them. It must have been lying near his elbow all night while he slept. It was the key. It had fallen upon the shelf and not on the floor at all. Bye, Barb.
Good night.
Marco picked it up and then stood still a moment. He made a sign of the cross. And then he found his way to the door and fumbled until he found the keyhole and got the key into it. Then he turned it and pushed the door open, and the cat ran out into the passage before him. Kind of funny. I didn't think the Oscar and Klaus book were going to take so long. So I think what I am going to do is I'm going to stop right here, and we're going to continue that next week. And then I have another book. I don't know if I read this or not. It's called If You Look Around You. And this is the one where there's always a cat somewhere in the picture. Dial books for young readers. Yeah, I'll read that next week. The reason why I kind of like this, it reminds me of the picture that we have. I still say we because it was Bonnie's picture. We have a picture of, if anybody knows Philadelphia, one of the oldest streets in Philadelphia is called Alfred's Alley. It's a very popular touristy spot because the whole row of houses are very colonial looking. It's the street isn't paved; it's all rocks. It's really pretty road if you ever look at Alfred's Alley. But the picture that we have is basically Alfred's Alley, and is it called the Meeting or the Friends? And it's a cat in Alfred's Alley looking up into the picture window of another house, and then there's a black cat there, and they're kind of staring at each other. It's a very subtle kitty picture. It's very, very cute, but it's supposed to be Alfred's Alley. And like I said, if you ever visit Philadelphia, if you go down Center City, you probably will see Alfred's Alley. It's only a block long. It's not a big deal, and it's not going to take you forever to peruse it. It's just kind of a cute little thing. Thank you, Stacy. So, and I know right there's a fireman's museum right there as well. Because when we would go on our school trips, we would go to Alfred's Alley. We'd go to the fireman's museum, which is right there. So, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Craig. All right, so I think I'm going to pack up and I'm going to get going. And I will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. So have a good night, everybody. Oh. Good night, Big D. Good night. Good night. Anybody in the pineapple? Nope. Nobody's in the pineapple. Hello, Cammy.